Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today. I have an unscheduled stream that I'm going to do today. I'm going to kind of explain to you why I'm doing this unscheduled stream. I've covered this subject already, but this came up in my Facebook group. Somebody actually posted a video and wanted to know if that video was legitimate. And this is based off of several videos that I've already done. And I'm going to kind of follow a format tonight. I'm kind of giving everybody some time to get in the room. We have 11 people here. Hey, John, Kent, flying GSP. Let me see, flying. I always get you wrong here. Flying SGP. Welcome Gringers Are Us. Welcome Kai. Welcome Angie. Angie. Congratulations, you're gonna be in Mexico, and hello, Yamilet, my beautiful wife, and Angie's gonna be in Mexico in 12 days. So welcome, Angie. You're gonna love it here. And as Gringos Are Us said, time can't pass quick enough. So I'm gonna give everybody some time to get in the room. And tonight, the reason why I also need to apologize if I get a little bit emotional here, because this is a subject that is really upset me a lot. One of the things that we do here at Retired Life in Mexico is that we try to give you the information that you really need, the right information that you need to make decisions to move to Mexico. And some of the videos that I do, and most of my mission, and I don't charge any money for this or anything else, is to try to get that correct, accurate information for you. And one of the things that I've had an issue with is that with the influx of a lot of foreigners have come individuals that have become entrepreneurs per se. There was a time when maybe there was a couple of YouTubers and stuff like that, and a couple of facilitators and a couple of expat services. But it seems like the market has gotten very saturated. And I've already said this many times. And I think everybody in the market is trying to gain some type of credibility. And I don't know how many of you are visiting here because of my Facebook post, but if you do, I suggest you actually, and I'll put the link to this video. I don't care if you give him views, don't worry about it, promote him. I think this individual actually did this video with good intention, but this is an example. If you haven't watched the video yet, this is a perfect example of how this misinformation can get out of hand. And this is a perfect example of somebody trying to gain credibility who supposedly released this super secret, top secret, supposedly information that nobody knows because my lawyer told me. And my lawyer, actually, he even did an interview where the lawyer said this. And all of a sudden, it's the Bible's truth because a lawyer said it. And this is causing a lot of problems. And I'm going to go into what kind of problems it's actually causing, because I've gotten some feedback from people within the Mexican government. And I'm going to explain why this is very, very detrimental. But we're going to go into what exactly am I talking about? What I'm talking about, oh, and by the way, before we even start, I had a great time in Cabo. I loved it there. It was the first time I've ever been to Baja. I had a great time, and I'm just letting you guys know. Hope you watched the stream. And for all of you that visited me on my stream, had an iPad. It wasn't the best quality, but I was able to give you the beautiful view that I had out of Cabo. And really, thank you very much for supporting me. And I probably next month, we'll be coming to you from Cozumel. I had some issues with the internet. I'm convinced that the hotels block your cell phone signals and hotspot signals so that they can convince you to pay for internet. Fortunately, I was able to, even with the internet, paid internet, I was having some issues. But I'm here, and I'm hopefully going to be coming to you from Cabo. But we're going to talk to you about this, how it originated. But there's this idea going around on Facebook, and I've actually Actually, while I was away on vacation, I saw 3 or 4 posts on this, and it's going around Facebook. It's become very popular. Then all of a sudden, it's caught the attention of YouTubers. This particular video that I'm going to be talking about today is a video that was done by an individual called JB's Big Adventure out of Chapala. And he even says at the very beginning of the video, this is the biggest, most important video that I've ever made. He's a small YouTube channel that has 3,000 viewers. And he goes on to talk about how he has researched this law that supposedly has been going around that enables you to get residency. Okay, and I'm going to make some corrections. He says any kind of residency, and actually it's not any kind of residency. Number one, the law that he quotes, it's for permanent residency, actually. And he even goes on to say that he discovered the law. He even ran it by a lawyer. He didn't ever produce this lawyer, supposed lawyer, but that's beside the point. The law exists. I'm going to tell you right now. There's no disputing it. I'm going to actually show it to you. But I'm going to show it to you that it's been taken out of context. And I'm going to show why it's been taken out of context. And this law is not what actually governs the way immigration works. It's the general law. I'll get into it in a little while. But he goes on to tell you that what you need to do, he even gives a link, I think, to the document with the law. And he says that you should go into a consulate. And you don't even get an appointment. Go in there and ask for the director. Well, the director happens to be the consular general, and the consular general is not just going to talk to anybody. He's a diplomat. The consular general only talks to high-level government officials. He's not going to talk to you unless he's having a good day and he just decides to talk to you. But probably more than likely he won't talk to the director of the consulate as he speaks. And he goes on to say that you need to show the director that this law and tell him you need to let me in, kind of, sort of, basically telling you. And not only that, but I'm going to tell you right now, the consulate won't see you without an appointment. You cannot just walk into a consulate without an appointment. So he says, and you show him the law, you explain to him the law, you explain to these people how you want to come to Mexico, and somehow magically, because of the law, they're going to accept you and they're going to approve you for residency. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, I have a network of well-known facilitators, well-known relocation specialists, well-known immigration attorneys. I have a whole government officials, and I'm telling you right now, there's not one confirmed case that this has ever happened. And the 2 individuals that started this information have been unable to verify that this is even a viable option. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this live stream by telling you where this information started. There was an interview between Tangerine Travels and Jose Arteaga. And during the interview, they were talking about alternative ways to get residency. And Jordan from Tangerine Travels was talking to Jose Arteaga. And Jose made a comment. He starts talking about, well, you can get it through being married to a Mexican citizen. But one of the comments that he made is he says, well, a lot of people don't know this, but it's sort of like he was revealing this super secret thing, because only I know, because I'm the YouTuber that knows. A lot of people don't know this, but you can get residency just by showing you're retired. You don't need financial solvency. You just have to show you're retired. 99% of people don't know this. And they went on to keep talking. And even Jordan looked at him kind of like, huh? What are you talking about? Okay. Well, what Jose Arteaga was referring to, he had done a video with a lawyer out of Merida, which, if you watch my videos, is not an immigration lawyer. He happens to be a real estate. He owns a real estate company. He also is an multi-level marketer coach. He is a lawyer. I have confirmed that. But this interview that he had with this lawyer, he was talking about alternative ways of getting residency. And the lawyer did mention, that there's a Mexican law that enables you to get permanent residency without showing financial solvency. This law exists. And then he goes on to say, and he actually says this, everybody ignores the second part that this lawyer said, because what the lawyer said was correct in the sense the law does exist, okay, but it's not the way he phrased it. And I'm going to show you the law. And not only does the law exist, but unfortunately, it's up to the consulate. You have to go to a consulate, and the consulate has to approve you. So what this lawyer did is said, hey, there's this law that lets you get you get residency without financial solvency, but you know what? The consulate has to decide. That's his disclaimer, basically. And I can tell you right now, every immigration expert I've talked to, every facilitator I've talked to, every attorney I've talked to, and these people deal with thousands of clients every month, okay? These people deal with thousands of clients. Everybody I talked to said, that ain't happening, okay? That's not that's not the way it works. You have to show financial solvency. And there is nothing in that law that talks about being exempt from financial solvency. I'll tell you what the law actually says, but a lot of people are misconstruing what the law says. Not only misconstruing, but you can't just read the article that says this law. You have to read the whole section and what the section is trying to do in this law. Because if you take it out of context, it's just sort of like taking a verse out of the Bible. I'm not saying anything bad, but it's kind of like taking the verse out of the Bible out of context when you don't read the 3 or 4 verses before and understand what exactly is trying to be taught here. And that's what people are doing here. They're actually taking an actual sentence out of the law and saying, you qualify. All you have to do is go down to a consulate, and if you make your case, you're going to get residency. And that is just not true. And I'm going to explain to you why it's not true. Okay? And I'm explaining to you not as an expert. I'm not an expert. But the unfortunate truth is that Jose made this comment to try to make it look like, hey, I know something a lot of other people don't know. That's why you need to come to my channel and watch my channel. Okay? And then when he was corrected in Jordan said, no, but it came from a lawyer. If a lawyer said it, it must be true. And then even Jose defended himself after he insulted me to begin with and said, hey, but he conducted himself in a professional manner. He finally said, well, I'm not a professional. You need to go consult a professional. After he told everybody that he's the one to know. And he's even done subsequent videos saying, don't trust any other YouTubers, only trust me. Give me your money, not anybody else, okay? What people need to understand is that even when I encountered Jordan on this, and I actually had a back and forth with him, he didn't want to admit. He just said, it's from an attorney, so it must be true. And the thing is that Jordan didn't want to admit that anything was wrong or didn't want to check, let's just keep it at the attorney knows, is because this was the highest viewing. Jordan's not been doing very well in his views. I'm not here to criticize his channel. I'm not here to criticize anybody's channel, but I'm just here to tell you where it's coming from. And he was only getting an average of 20, 30,000 views, which is a lot of views, but very little for Tangerine Travels in the big scheme of things. This video garnered over 100 and something, I don't even know what it's at now, but over 100 and something thousand views. From 30,000 to 100,000. You can imagine his revenue stream went up. Do you think he wanted to admit that there was something wrong in that interview? He perpetuated the lie, okay? And then the second thing that happened was that when Jose was confronted, he kind of did a little bit better. He kind of ignored the situation and didn't say anything, didn't perpetuate it. He still laid on the morals of, I have a lawyer that said it. But people went to his channel and went to that interview and actually corrected the lawyer and said, hey, this lawyer's not right. You need to show financial solvency. All those comments have been mysteriously deleted. So what do they have to hide? And why is this important? Well, actually, Jose had just hit 10,000 subscribers, and he has been up for 3 years. Okay. So granted, 10,000 subscribers. He made in 2 to 3 weeks, he gained over 3,000 subscribers from that interview. Everybody flocked to his channel because supposedly now he's the one that knows all the secrets. And unfortunately, that's the way things work. And I apologize if any of you are fans of these channels, but I'm just telling you the truth. And at the same time, Jose Arteaga started a quote, pay me some money, ask me a question because my time is valuable. And if you email me and you pay me anywhere from $20 to $100, I'll even make a video if it's enough money about the subject, then I'll answer your question. So these two individuals had a financial incentive to keep the lie going. Now, unfortunately, this lie has spread. And let me tell you what has happened in the meantime. Individuals have gone to the consulate and tried this. They tried exactly what Mr. Adventures is saying, DB Adventures is saying. They've come out empty-handed, been denied, and very disappointed. And not only that, but the Mexican consulates are starting to complain because people are showing up demanding their residency because the law says that they deserve residency because this law says that you need to give me residency. And it's getting to the point where it's getting back to Mexican, to SRE, the exterior relations. And this could have some very, very serious impacts on a diplomatic level with the United States. Okay? This could have some very serious impact. And the unfortunate thing is these two YouTubers are so worried about making their money and scamming people out of money. As a matter of fact, Jordan, from what I understand, was been charging, well, before he announced it, was charging up to $300 for a consult, Zoom consult, claiming to be experts, trying to keep their expert status when they could be causing an international incident diplomatically. Do you think they care? No, they don't. Do you think they have a responsibility to the country of Mexico who's let them graciously stay here? Or maybe even their own country, not to cause problems with the country of Mexico? They don't care. And that's why I'm upset. Because this is ruining it for the rest of us. And that is the origin of where this is coming from. It's not coming from the Mexican law. It's not some, oh, wow. Matt Metabamba, JB Travels, has expanded and charging $400 to show people around Ajijic. Okay. So then JB's after the money too, I guess. I thought he was just innocently, but this is just an example of how people are trying to gain this quote, expert status. I'm an expert. You need to pay me for my services. And this is damaging the expat community. And unfortunately, the way JB is saying to go down to the consulate, you know, most of the people that are doing this, I'm going to be honest with you, are on a fixed income, older individuals that can't afford to live in, and probably desperate because they can't live in the United States on their Social Security check. But, I mean, how would you feel if you were a 70-year-old man or a 65-year-old man or a 60-year-old man for that sense, and I'm almost there, I'm 2 years away, and you prepare all these documents thinking you're going to go to the consulate and you might get residency, and you stand in line all day, or you even make an appointment, and 3 months, you're so excited. Then all of a sudden, you go into your appointment and someone tells you, well, I'm sorry, you don't make enough money to even qualify for temporary residency. We'll see you later. Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm not there when you get disappointed. Jordan is not there when you get disappointed. JB Travels isn't there when you get disappointed. And Jose Arteaga sure as hell ain't there when you get disappointed. And I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bit emotional about this, but I think it's about time that we as a community come together. And that's why I do this for free. That's why I don't charge any money, because I want to show you that I'm not doing this for some kind of. Actually, some people have asked me in my Zoom consults, why aren't you charging? Actually, what's the end game here? My end game is helping people out. But what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to explain to you. Now, I've explained the origins of this, and I'm going to get a little bit less emotional because this is more technical. The article that JB Travels is talking about, okay, is that JB Travels is talking about the Ley de Migración. It's not hard to find. It's on the internet. It's not some super secret document. Okay? It's not a super secret document. You can look it up on the internet. Of course, I think he gave a link to the document. But it's an Article 54. What they're quoting, and everybody's now, I don't know if the Merida lawyer was quoting this article or not. But, I mean, all the Merida lawyer said, what Jose Novello said, was that there's a Mexican law. He didn't say where, what. He never even said where it was. But I'm almost sure Jose's also talking about this. Well, I think a couple of YouTubers have gone and dug deep, or a couple of people have dug deep into the Ley de Migración, and supposedly think they found this loophole. Okay, first of all, let me explain to you what the Leys de Migración are. And I'm not talking to you because, I'm not talking to you as a YouTube armchair expert. I'm not an expert. And I get all of this stuff and I run it by I have a whole team of legal experts, and even them get it wrong sometimes. I've actually been corrected a couple of times on a couple of things, and or I don't go through them right away, or I don't talk to them, and I get in trouble because I put my foot in my mouth. But I'm not scared to say I made a mistake. As a matter of fact, it's great. If you want to correct me on anything I have to say today, please do. I welcome it, because that helps the community. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a perfect example in Cabo. I'm getting off track here, but I want to give you a perfect example. When we got to Cabo, Todos Santos, down in south of Cabo, is a little town, Pueblo Mágico, and they told us that's where the the famous Hotel California is. And actually, then they were saying, the Eagles, the song, the Hotel California. Well, I was on my live stream saying, I'm going to go to Todos Santos tomorrow. I'm going to see, I went to Sammy Hagar's bar, Cabo Wabo, as part of my roots, and I'm going to go to the Hotel California. Well, someone looked it up, and it comes to find out that there is a Hotel California. It's been there since 1950. But this is not the Hotel California from the Eagles song. What happened, actually, the Eagles sued this Hotel California. He sued Hotel California because an individual bought it. It actually changed names. It was in 1950 when this hotel was established. Beautiful hotel. I actually went anyway. And this individual started even playing in the lobby the song Hotel California. Then all of a sudden it became a tourist attraction, and then people started implying that it was the Hotel California from the song. And I didn't know that. But luckily, and actually somebody went into ChatGPT or AI, and they went into AI, and the AI said, no, this has nothing to do with the Hotel California. And that person corrected me. So I actually got to go to the Hotel California knowing that it wasn't the Hotel California from the Eagles. So this is a perfect example of how we need to come together. I don't have all the answers here, but I'm going to try to give you, and I'm also going to try to give you a high-level explanation of this, so that if I do make any mistakes, or I'm not too detailed, or I don't go into chapter 1, section 3, blah, 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 blah. I understand a lot of people love to go into the details and say, I missed this or I missed that. Fine, I welcome your comments. I want you to comment on it. But I'm going to try to give you a high-level explanation of how the immigration law works and how it's actually enforced, and how this law actually is not what everybody's putting it out to be, okay? So, first of all, I'm going to go over here to my internet. This is a chapter in the law, Ley de Migración. Okay, it's in Spanish. I have a translated version. I think I have even a translated version. I might be able to put it up on a file sharing that you can actually. But if you look at this, it says capítulo 2, it says chapter 2, de la estancia de extranjeros en el territorio nacional. What this chapter is, this is a chapter, okay, that is saying these are the different ways that you can legally live in Mexico. This is a general law. These is what establishes the criteria for the different residencies and for the different states in Mexico. So it goes on to say, Article 52, and it says, and I'm going to translate it, los extranjeros podrían permanecer en el territorio nacional en las condiciones de estancia de visitante, residente temporal y residente permanente, siempre que cumplen los requisitos. So what this Article 52 says is that any foreigner can come to Mexico and they can stay in Mexico as a visitor, which is your FMM, as a temporary resident, or as a permanent resident, okay? As long as they meet certain requirements. Okay, so what this is saying is you need to meet certain requirements. These are the minimum requirements, all right? What I'm going to explain to you now is that there can be more requirements, but these are the minimum requirements established by the law. What people need to understand is that the Ley de Migración is actually what the way the Ley de Migración works is the Ley de Migración is actually the general law that governs the immigration. Then you actually have the reglamentos de migración, which actually say how immigration is to carry out these laws, okay? Oops, hold on. I actually made myself, I'm sorry, I went to the wrong one. Okay, so then if you go down here, visitantes y permiso para realizar actividades remuneradas. Okay, what this means is you can be a visitor, get an FMM, and this is the person, this is the tourist visa or the tourist FMM. I call it a visa. A lot of people have corrected me. It's not a visa. But this is and it tells you that you can come in to the territory for an uninterrupted time, no more than 180 days. This is your basic FMM. And it also says that you cannot do financial activities. In other words, you can't do business. They actually have one that's a visitante con permiso para realizar actividades. So basically, this would be an FMM, but with permission to work. These are people that come in on conferences that are getting paid consulting fees to be speakers at a conference or whatever. They get a permission to come in here, and it tells them that it could be, for example, this says it could be for an academic institution. This is the way your rock stars get in. Basically for their concerts, your sports stars, this is how they come in if they come to Mexico to compete. Then you have a visitante regional. I'm not going to go over everything. And then you have visitante that you're gonna do humanitarian things. And it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. Okay. And then it goes into residencia temporal. And it says that you're authorized to stay here for a period of time, no more than 4 years, and you have the possibility to get a work permit, okay? And these are some of the qualifying factors. Okay, this is where you get your family unification program. For example, hijos del residente, kids from a family unification. So this, if either a mother or father, a kid, if you're married to a resident, that's how you get family unification. Now, this is the general law. This is not the process that you have to go through to get it. This is what we need to do. We need to separate the general law the guidelines and the actual process you have to go through. None of this delineates how you have to go to INM. If you go to INM, every INM office is different. The application works differently. They have different procedures, but there's another, they have to follow certain procedures. But this is not telling you, oh, okay, you're automatically, no, it's INM that does that. And this is the general law that qualifies you, okay? You need to understand from an immigration standpoint, any country in the world, doesn't matter, United States, doesn't matter, Mexico, Canada, they can basically, if you are a visitor, whether you're a resident, a temporary resident, permanent resident, whatever it is, they have the right to say whether you can live here or not. Bam. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the law says, oh, yeah, you can, but they have the absolute right to basically deport people who they want to deport for whatever reason. Now, they have regulations. I'm not telling you that they don't, but we need to understand that. Just because we found this law that says that we can do this doesn't mean that's the way the law is put into effect. Okay, so then we go into different temporary residencies if you're a student. Then it goes into residente permanente, okay? And this is the reason why, I don't know if you've ever heard this in videos or whatever, is if you want to go straight to permanent residency, you have to show a certain financial solvency amount, which is usually higher than temporary residency, and you must be of retirement age, or you must be retired, okay? That's one of the, if you go to the consulate's websites, that's what you'll see. That is where Article 54 comes into place. That's why most consulates tell you that you must be, and as a matter of fact, there's a lot of people that have gone to the consulate and said, hey, I want permanent residency. I meet the financial criteria for permanent residency, and the embassy will tell them, or the consulate will tell them, I'm sorry, but you're not 65 years of age. There's even been some people that have taken their pension letters, and they've even, some consulates are so strict that it's unless you're 65 years of age, you don't qualify, even if you have a pension letter. So this is where this Article 54 comes in. In Article 54, it basically says there's 3 ways that you can come in and go straight to permanent residency. Article 54 also covers a second way that you can, if you are a temporary resident, you don't want to wait your 4 years and you want to convert from after 2 years, you can convert to permanent residency, okay? But in order to convert after 2 years instead of 4 years, you have to meet one of these requirements. And there's 3 different ones, okay? Political asylum or family unity. For example, if one of you gets permanent residency and you need to bring in another family member. And Section 3, this is what JB talks about, that you're retired or pensioned and you have a letter or proof from the foreign government or your retirement letter from a company that you have a salary that lets you live in the country. Okay? This is not a secret law. This is exactly what JB was talking about. Okay, here's the problem. What JB went on to do in his video was saying, well, okay, I looked up how much a maid makes. Looked up how much a doctor makes. I looked how much a nurse, I don't even remember. I didn't watch the whole video totally. I was on the flight back, and I was so peeved that I didn't really get to watch the whole thing. But he went on to say, well, you know, if a nurse can live here for $1,500 a month and you can show that you could live like a nurse, then therefore that meets this requirement right here that I can live in the country. The law literally states that I have enough recourses to live in the country. So I qualify. Well, technically you do, kind of, sort of, okay? This is the general law, Title 54, and this is the reason why when you apply straight for permanent residency and you go to a consulate and you say, I don't want temporary, I want to go straight to permanent, they say you have to be retired. You have to be retired because you need to meet Section 3 of this law, okay? And then they go on to say you need financial solvency. I'm going to explain to you what financial solvency is. Financial solvency has nothing to do with the cost of living here in Mexico. Financial solvency doesn't have anything to do with the ability to live here, being able to afford to live here. And guess what? Ingreso que les permita vivir en el país. Guess who determines that? Guess who determines what the dollar amount is of the salary you need that permits you to live in the country? The Mexican consulate. That's your financial solvency requirements. So if you go and you say, look, I have enough money to live here because I can prove to you I make as much as a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it might be, they're going to look at you and say, but do you meet the financial solvency requirements? Because that's what we look at. We don't look at how much a lawyer makes. We don't look at how much anybody makes. So this is what you need to take into consideration. That is the bottom line. Now, here's the other thing too. And this is the lawyer that started this whole thing. Is actually correct. A consulate has full discretion to issue any kind of visa or deny the visa, okay? For whatever reason, they have full discretion. It's just like the immigration officer. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna compare this to the 180-day FMM that everybody talks about. The immigration officer has full discretion to decide whether you're really gonna stay here or you're gonna live here, okay? And they decide whether to give you the FMM. It's the same thing with the consulate. Okay, and the consulate sets the requirements. Now, there are some guidelines. I'm going to show you something else that's called the Reglamento de Ley de Migración. These are actually the regulations that tell immigration and SRE how to implement the leyes de migración. And these are much more detailed, much more detailed. These are laws that were passed by Congress, basically directing immigration on how to enforce the laws. This goes into detail on how you can get basically deported, what procedures immigration is supposed to have. So the true law here is not the leyes de migración. Leyes de migración is up here, the high-level law. The reglamentos de migración is what actually tells them how to do it. And in these reglamentos, I don't remember exactly where, it tells the consulate that they have full discretion. And it gives actually, in those reglamentos, that's where it establishes, establishes SRE's role in getting residency, okay? Now, here's another thing that you can look at too, Diario Oficial de la Federación. This right here, Rick, aloha from Maui. I hope you guys are doing good over there, doing okay in the fires. I want to bring that up before I keep going. Rick, welcome to the live stream. This here, this Diario Oficial de la Federación, this is where laws get published, okay? Basically, if a new law is published or a new law is done, this is where it gets published, okay? This is the official last word of the law when it gets published. This is run by the Congress, and when the law is actually official, this is where it is published, okay? So anything that actually amends this gets published to this, okay? So just because you found this does not make that the secret weapon to get residency. Actually, Rick Brandt, before I go any further, my wife and I are doing well. Great, Rick. It's great to hear. I really am Actually, all that stuff happened when I was away on my vacation, and it was kind of a downer. I was having a great time, but all of that stuff that happened over there was really did touch me a lot, and was one of the bad pieces of news I got while I was supposed to be enjoying my vacation. But I'm glad to hear you're okay, Rick. Just because you found this right here that says I can be retired. So was the lawyer lying? No, the lawyer wasn't lying, because what he was doing is saying, hey, you got to be retired and you have to have a pension. That's what the high level law says. Okay. But the lawyer didn't mention anything about the reglamentos de inmigración or any of the current laws that have been published by Congress regarding the reglamento de inmigración. Not to mention, the lawyer was also right. The consulate has full discretion whether to approve you or disapprove you. Now, what I have heard of is some people have gotten exceptions to the retirement rule because they have their 5,400, and some consulates will say, well, you know what? You're not 65, you're not retired, but you have, I don't know, all this money, and we'll let you go ahead since you meet the requirement. They have waived that rule. I've heard of people coming up $100 short a month, $200 short a month. And you know what? Not a problem. We'll waive the requirement, not waive them, but we'll approve your application. Okay, this is not any different. I worked at a U.S. embassy in Brazil. The consular officers do the same thing with visas. They have to bring in all their employment records, and the officers can decide whether to approve an application, even if you meet or disapprove it. Even if you meet the requirements, the consulate, I can tell you right now, there's several cases where individuals have met the requirements, have met the actual requirements for residency. They've met the requirements and were actually denied, maybe because they got an attitude, into an argument, and were actually denied, even though they met the requirements. So you need to understand that the consulate has full discretion. So theoretically, could they approve? Theoretically, could they approve your visa for no financial solvency based on this law? Yeah, theoretically, they can, because they can approve or deny any application. That's the bottom line. Reality is that it's not going to happen. There has not been one single documented case where this has worked. And we even sent, I had some of the most prominent out of Mexico City facilitators. Now, I've also heard this other thing, well, a facilitator's not a lawyer. Yes, but a facilitator, they work with INM every day. They probably know more than a lawyer knows, okay? Whether they're a lawyer or they're not a lawyer. I can tell you one of the best or two of the best facilitators here in Mexico are not attorneys, and they're the best facilitators in all of Mexico. So you can be rest assured that if it's a good facilitator, that information that they're giving out is pretty valid. But we had a facilitator email several consulates. I even in my video put up a copy of the response, the email response to this facilitator. And the email response, and actually there was somebody that was claiming they were going to do it in Chicago, and we actually contacted the Chicago consulate. 2 days after this person claimed that we could do it, an individual came up $800 short because they sent him in thinking that we could get through this, or they could get through this, and he was denied. And we even got an official email response from the Chicago consulate saying, we do not do that. You must meet the financial solvency requirement. So the reality is that this stuff doesn't work. It's not going to work if you go to and the reality is, if everybody keeps going in droves, all the efforts that a lot of us have made, because let me explain to you something about immigration too. Immigration system, actually Kuru Pal did a really good video, and he said the immigration system's broken. If you ever go to Cruel Paul and Linda, I know he's quit doing videos on Mexico, but he still kept his channel up. And he explains how immigration went to this new formula called the UMA formula. Okay. And it's a long story because your financial solvency requirements are based on a special number. It's a formula of so many days times the minimum wage. What has happened is the minimum wage has gotten out of control. It's actually become more fair, but because of the big increases in the minimum wage, and everything used to be figured on the minimum wage. Well, all of a sudden they created this other economic indicator called the UMA, which is a lot lower than the minimum wage. Actually, if they go to the UMA formula, which immigration already has, I'm telling you right now, if you go to an immigration office, they're going to tell you, oh, it's only $1,700 a month to qualify for residency. Then you go to the consulate, they're saying, no, it's $2,400 or $25 or $21. The reason why is that there's a disparity because in 2016, all the agencies were directed to go to the UMA formula to figure out their fines. Okay. And immigration and SRE, Exterior Relations, refused to do that. Well, actually, immigration follows SRE suit because they're saying, well, if they're going to, we're just going to follow what SRE says because, I mean, you got to get past SRE, which is Exterior Relations, which is the equivalent to the State Department. Just recently, about a year ago, the Mexican president told immigration, why aren't you using the UMA formula in figuring out your financial solvency? So immigration's gone to it. So immigration's requirement is $1,700, but the consulate's requirement is $2,400 or $2,500 or in some cases $3,000 for temporary residency. So what has happened is that basically because the consulate has been given discretion to pick what they want to pick, actually tomorrow some of the consulates have even used the UMA or some bastardized version of the UMA formula because nothing really makes sense because some consulates have gone way below. McAllen at one time was way below and it wasn't even meeting the UMA formula. It was more like 200 times instead of 300 times. So this is how much leeway the consulate has to take what our financial solvency requirements are. That's why people say to go consulate shopping or find the one with the lowest requirement. So what happened is that SRE said, nope, we're going to keep using the minimum wage because we have full discretion. We're not going to go to the UMA formula. Now, here's the secret about the UMA formula. If SRE ever got in line with immigration and the rest of the government agencies, you would be able to qualify for temporary residency with the average Social Security check. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen if people go in droves demanding their residency because some obscure law, or what they claim is an obscure law, which is not. Guess what the Exterior Relations is going to say? Why should we give you residency or why should we go to this or make it easier for you when we got all these people showing up to our doors demanding residency because of some supposed law? And what they don't understand is we still have the last say. We still have and you want to know something? I lived and I worked in the diplomatic community, and I can tell you for a fact, in the diplomatic community, a lot of it is about power, is about flexing yourself, and is about saying, you know what, we're not going to do it just because we can. And this is the danger that two YouTubers put the whole expat community in. Because guess what? All it takes is SRE to start saying, you know what, we need to come in line, start using the UMA formula, and guess what? All of those people with Social Security checks would qualify. So what people need to do is stop trying to find all the loopholes and start trying to figure out how they might be able to do it in a different way. And there is a movement to try to get SRE to actually move in that direction. There is things within the government that's trying to tell SRE and trying to convince SRE to start using the UMA formula. Some consulates have actually done it. If you go to some consulate website, if you go to a certain consulate, you'll find that actually the UMA formula, it comes close. It's not the UMA formula, but it comes close. So, what I have to say is that, do you think these two YouTubers care? And if you want to support them and you want to pay them money, and they have a cult following, both of them, because I swear to God, I have had people come to me and argue that Jose Arteaga knows everything. Well, Jose Arteaga, the same guy says, don't listen to other YouTubers, is telling you, yeah, but listen to me. Well, who's the YouTuber? He is too. Why shouldn't you not listen to other YouTubers and what they say, but only listen to him? That doesn't make sense. Or you need to pay me to do a video. And you know what? He's not only making money off of you, you just gave him an idea for content so that he could get views so he could make more money. And this is also an individual that's starting up a GoFundMe campaign for his vacation. He wants you to pay for his vacation. Not only that, Jordan, he's putting his wedding registry on YouTube so his fans could buy his wedding gifts. Is that right? If you really want to donate money to a good cause, I can tell you a great cause, and I'm going to give you a great cause that you can donate money to, and it'll actually go to the Mexican people. So, I'm going to calm down. It's something that really emotionally gets me, and it's not emotionally gets me because I have anything against these two people. It emotionally gets me because the people that suffer in the end is the community, the same community that I'm trying to protect. I can't do it. People are going to make decisions. I can't change people's minds. You're going to make the decision that you want to make. But what you need to understand is, and I'm not yelling at anybody, I'm just taking out my frustrations. I apologize if I'm getting a little bit out of hand. But it really does touch me because this is something that shouldn't be happening. We should all be helping each other out. And you know what? Kudos. If you're a YouTube channel, you want to make money, spend less time trying, and I'm really reaching out to the YouTube community. Spend less time trying to establish your credibility and more time trying to help out your viewers. And I'll tell you what, I have a great crowd of viewers here. I have 8,000 subscribers. I don't have 200,000. I don't have 13,000. But, I'm here for the community. I'm not here for the likes. I'm not here for the money. So, like I said, I even issued a challenge to both Jordan and Jose in a professional manner to say, you know what, you need to correct this. And, all these people that are saying that attorneys are saying, yeah, well, you go to an attorney, my brother will tell you that, my brother-in-law will tell you this. Article 54 says exactly that. Article 54, Section 3 actually says that. I'm not going to dispute it. But Article 54, Section 3 is what qualifies you. It's not what approves you. That's what everybody needs to understand. And like I said, I'm not out for any of these YouTubers. I just get upset that they're taking advantage of the community and making money off the community in an unethical way. If you were making money off the community in an ethical manner, then I'm all power to you. There's plenty of YouTubers that do that. Actually, one of the YouTubers that I feel got kind of caught up in this, and I will not mention that YouTuber, and I even in my heart feel that JB, regardless of what you told me, I really do in my heart feel that JB bought into this. And he really got excited because he felt that he was going to get some credibility out of this. And apparently because he makes money too. And he released something that's potentially dangerous to the same people he says he's serving. And maybe innocently he's doing this. And actually, innocently, to be honest with you, I think Jordan, I'm not defending him, but I think Jordan innocently, this information innocently came out. I think it was a mistake, but I think that once the mistake was pointed out, neither one of them did anything to correct it because they were making money. That's the bottom line. And, I even have heard people try to defend them and say, well, maybe it was an honest mistake. I understand that people make honest mistakes. I made several honest mistakes. And I even think some of these YouTubers that are making videos about this have made honest mistakes. And, but unfortunately, people need to, well, people say Metabamba says JB is not innocent, he's desperate. Well, Metabamba, I don't know JB, but either way around, I think whether he's innocent or not, and trying to make money, what I will tell you is he bought into this. He bought into this idea that I think everybody bought into. And John Kent, misinformation hurts everybody. It really does. And you know what? I don't have anything against anybody making videos, selling services, even consulting for a fee. I don't have any problem with that, but be honest to your people. Be honest. That's what I'm asking for. I'm not attacking you. I'm not trying to take down your channel. All I'm asking for is to be honest. That's all. And I'm asking the viewers to start being a little bit smarter. Start seeing where these people are coming from and start to understand where they're coming from before you start financing their vacations or their wedding presents or their Disneyland trips. Is that right? It's not. That's just not right. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to go over some of the comments here before I go. I don't think I have anything else to say. I've explained everything. Let me see here. John Kent, I would have made a video about this as an option unless they were verified people who were granted residency this way. Exactly, John. And to be honest with you, when I heard about this, I actually reached out on the comment section to Jose Arteaga. Of course, the initial comment or his initial response was basically to insult me. But when we went further into it, my question was, name me a consulate that actually has this. If you can name me a consulate, and then later on, somebody, one of Jordan's fans, claimed that they had called the consulate had told them that this was going on at every consulate and that he would qualify under SSDI and he was going to bring proof. And I even encouraged him to bring proof. I even said this would be great for the community if this is in fact true. This would be really great for the community. Let me see. Someone asked, let me answer some questions. Metabomb asked, is 60 years old and retired with a pension meet permanent residency or only temporary? Actually, Metabomba, if you are pensioned, for example, I was 52. I retired at 52 and I was pensioned by the federal government, the U.S. federal government. Yes, I qualified for permanent residency. I just had to meet the actual monthly financial solvency requirements of that consulate. I didn't go that route. Long story, I've already explained it several times, but I went with temporary residency thinking I was going to bring a car. But if you don't meet the retirement age, that's where your pension letter is going to come into to play. Now, there are some consulates that have denied permanent because supposedly you're not of age. So some consulates, but it's not, I haven't had an issue. Most consulates will take pension letters. Actually, some consulates have even waived the pension letter or pension. You can actually get it. Some individuals that are 50 in their 40s have gotten it, permanent residency straight away. To be honest with you, I don't know how they did it. They said they met the financial requirements and just said, hey, I'm going to eventually live there permanently. And they got a consulate officer that was in a good mood and went ahead and waived that. So you should be able to qualify. Mexico, we have found the truth, probably not misinformation. Well, Mexico Adventure, I try to bring as accurate information as I can, but like I told everybody, I'm not an expert. I'm not a true expert on all of this stuff. I try to verify this stuff. When this information first came out, I tried to verify it the most I could. I was hoping, actually, I myself was hoping that this individual who said he was going to do it on SSDI was going to come through, and that I could tell people that the Chicago consulate was taking people, and I was going, not to be the first one, but to help the community. But unfortunately, that didn't come to pass. And Metabama says, thank you. John Gretzer, thanks for your honesty, Ernie. You are an excellent resource for all of us and for the truth. Well, that's all I seek is the truth. And even if I'm wrong, I'm going to seek the truth, because I'm the first one to tell you that I'm wrong. And I don't want to take this, I get a little bit emotional, because I really am out here to help you guys. I really am. And when people try to undermine that, when people try, at the very beginning, some people were trying to undermine my YouTube channel by saying that I was just trying to be a fearmonger, trying to scare people, an alarmist, whatever it might be. I was just trying to help. And that's all I am, trying to help. Flying Gia, most of us can see through Jordan and Jose. Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you can. Flying SUP. The reason I did this, though, to be honest with you, is I know my audience, most of my audience, like 90% of my audience, can see through it. I have a great Facebook group. I have a quality audience. I only have 8,500 subscribers, but it's a quality 8,500 subscribers. Individuals who are willing to see the truth. And the reason why I brought this up and I had this emergency stream, another reason is that you got to remember, you're going to move to a different country. This is a life-changing decision. And for people to be playing with your feelings on a life-changing decision. And somebody made a comment that, some of us, some YouTubers, they try to tell you it's hard. It's hard to come to Mexico, but it's so easy. Well, it isn't that easy. It is hard because it's a life-changing situation, a big decision. Even if I were to move from Texas to California, that's a life-changing big decision. It's not something to be taken lightly. And I don't like it when people tell you to just run down to the consulate and so you could just be disappointed. That's not right. It just is not right. John Metabamba, you'll need to prove retirement, such as a pension verification letter, meet the financial requirements of a particular consulate, satisfy the other documentation. Exactly, John. That's what you can, exactly what you just said for Metabamba. You can qualify at 60. You can qualify if you're under 65 years old. But I have heard of instances, I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade here, but I have heard of instances where they really, really insisted on that you needed to be 65 for some reason or another. Now, here's the good thing. One of the things that JV said in his video is that don't get discouraged because you can always go to another consulate. But you also need to understand that some consulate will only take appointments within their jurisdiction. So you just need to find if maybe worst case scenario, you take temporary and then you convert it over to permanent. It's not a hard process. It's just a little bit inconvenient. You'll get temporary for 1 year and then you have to renew it for 3. It's a little bit more expensive because you can't go straight to permanent. And also you have to go and renew it after a year for the remaining 3. And Mexico Adventure, gee whiz, Ernie, I'll take your word as an experienced person who does not blow smoke up our, you know what, I'll fund your causes if you steer us. I've never given Jordan or Jose money. I'll still watch them. I think, you know what? Jose does some very good videos. I've seen some of his videos, and he makes some very good points in a lot of his videos. This is not an attack on Jose. It's just an attack on their business model, on not really caring about what information they're putting out there and trying to hide the information or accurate information. So that's what I have a problem with. I think he has a lot of good points. I mean, he brings stuff from both sides of the fence. Like I've always even said about Jose, he's a very, I'm very impressed. He came here with nothing, and he's been able to make a life for himself. I don't feel so sorry for Jordan. He's a spoiled kid that basically never worked in his life other than selling stuff on eBay, and found this YouTube niche. And I'm sorry, but I mean, if you look at Jose, he's worked, he's worked everything from being a dishwasher to, and he's a guy that tries to make ends meet. I kind of have a respect for him, but at the same time, I don't have that much respect for the way he conducts business, or the way he does it. And that should be it. Oh, Mexico, I don't watch him anymore. He talks and says nothing. Well, that's beside the point. That's all I had to say tonight. I'm going to try my Sunday stream. If you have any suggestions, leave comments in the comment section below. And I hope that you guys pass this information along. I know I did an hour live stream. What I'm going to try to do is put together a video, basically giving a summary of this. So if someone wants the short version, doesn't want to watch an hour, I'm going to put out a video too. And I promise I won't get as emotional about this on the video, but I will put together a short 2 to 3 minute video, kind of giving a summary of what I explained to everybody. And like I said, share it, pass it around. And even if somebody just watches it and this saves somebody a trip to the consulate and disappointment, then you know what, I'm all for it. And I know that there's kind of this attitude that if we rush the consulate, somehow they're gonna give in. They're not gonna cave in. I can tell you that from a diplomatic standpoint. Diplomatically, those are the last people. Diplomats are the last people to cave in when it comes to things like this. And there are a lot of diplomatic State Departments and everything are run by political situations, not necessarily what's going on with you and me. And Everell said for temporary residency is more than $43,000 in the bank for more than 6 months of bank statements, and more than $125,000 in the bank for 6 months for permanent residency card. That's right, Everell. And my hope, Everell, and I know you've come on many times, my hope is that they'll start using that UMA formula, and that $43,000 will go down. Now, I don't know how much it's going to go down with the peso, but hopefully it'll go down. And thank you guys very much for attending my live stream, and we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully we'll have a video out soon on this, and look forward to my normal Sunday scheduled live stream. And thank you guys for joining me. And like I always say, till next time, stay safe, and most importantly, stay informed.